All right, so we are getting started this morning, this Saturday morning, a little late. It's like lunchtime. But we're going to go ahead and cut the interior panel. I sat here and stared at this a lot last night, trying to figure out exactly where I wanted to go with this. And I think I know, but I know that the first step is definitely to get the interior panel cut and put it in place. Believe it or not, a lot of this stuff, I know I tell y'all, I don't know where I'm going. So I've heard a lot of comments like, man, I can never do that. I can never cut that apart. I can never put a car back together like that. And you got to understand you can. You can do it. Don't doubt yourself. Stop doubting yourself. Let's see here. We need 32 by 32. This is 36. So we'll just roll with that. We'll just cut it at 32 this way. And it'll just be a little longer because that's going to go into the wheel arch anyway, where the tire is at. Like I said previously, if I didn't edit that part of the video out. So we're just going to stick it up there, and then we're going to rehang our tire. And then we're literally probably going to trace our tire like an inch away from our tire. And that's going to be the start of the tub. It's kind of exciting. And then if we need to trim back, we can. But that should give us the very, very first piece of the wheel arch. So let's get this cut out. Let's get rolling. All right, so now you kind of can see why your reference point is so important. So this 2x4 is literally one of the most crucial parts of this setup to let us know where that tire goes. So we can continue to put that 2x4 back exactly where the tire goes. Wow. These knobs are making this thing look like chicken scratch. This is crazy. All right. So now that we have our tire layout, let's see here. Let's go ahead and attempt to trace the arch also. The arch of the fender, just to kind of have a ballpark. The arch doesn't really matter because you won't see it, so we can box into it. So if that makes sense, you can see our line back there with the tire, and then you can see our line up there for the arch. But our tub doesn't have to be out that far. Okay, so we can literally have a wall all the way to here, and then the tub starts whatever. Like this could be boxed in, and then a separate tub starts. Kind of basically, we could just kill over to it, but we got to be able to cut that back because this tire has to still go in. So remember, that tire has to come like all the way back to, where's our bead line at? Our bead line's right there on the metal, literally. That's that black mark right there. So that's where the bead of our tire has to be. All right, so it's probably hard to see on the camera, But this is our tire arch. All right, and we went past the straight. Now we're going to find the straight where it intersects at a 90 off the bottom, which is going to be right there. Cool thing about this is once we make one side, once we make all these panels, as long as they cleco in, then we can move them to the other side. Just duplicate. All right, so we're going to come straight down right there. Now, I think we're going to use tape and extend our curve. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this, is just to tape this and step our curve out, I think. Remember, this is bagged height. I know I have said it 100 times, but just in case somebody new comes on, everything that we are building to is when the car is completely slammed. So therefore, we're building everything tight, because we can later, as the car picks up, it will move away from these points. So if we cut that, outside and then bend us, shrinker and stretcher, bend us a 90 piece to attach to that, and that should be what we extend over with our tubs. This should be our tire. Our tire tread should be right here at bagged height. So we should only have, what is that, an inch of clearance when it's bagged. So when it's laid out, yes, we'll only have an inch of clearance when it's laid out. And that should be good. This is the arch of the existing panel, but we don't want all that because this is an interior panel. So you'll see when it's all put together. Let's get this cut. You can see our clearance. Now, to take you on the inside, you'll see it even better. You'll start to see what we're talking about. There we go. Okay, so now is it clicking? So that's the bottom of our rocker down there. All right, so we got to figure all that out. And this is still, I guess you could say, big. We're all the way back to pretty much the packaging tray, and that is the curve of the tire. So the tire should come straight in now. Let's see here, let's check. We're still on our line down there. So let's pull our tire. Easier with two hands. Like our tire is pulled in all the way to our reference point on our 2x4 where our bead's at. We're on our reference point on our frame. We're on the reference point there. So the tire is exactly in the location where it's going to be. And so there is our clearance around the tub at bag height. So that is a ton of clearance at bagged height, because remember, when the tire is this close, the car can't move because the frame rails are sitting on the ground 100%. So technically we should be touching like we are up there, but that's not needed. Now this up here, this section up here, it'll get bent. We'll bend this up, and then this is going to connect in with this eventually, and then the curve will come in to meet a flat piece of the wall here. So I guess what we do now is, we probably need to go ahead and map out on our insides while we can get to it, where our pieces are at. I do know I made a mistake, and that one centerpiece is not far enough out unless I decide to bend this in, which I might do. It'd have to be bent kind of like that. I might do that for space in here. Not 100% sure yet, so I got some thinking to do. But that's the gist of how our first piece of the interior panel, man, that's amazing. It's flush with the windowsill, the new windowsill. All right, and more than likely I want to cut out two big access holes at least with the 4-inch punch, or at least a couple 3s, possibly maybe put some B-roll in it for strength. We do have a bead roller, we just have not opened it yet. Yeah. And to move that arch in to get it right, so it's an actual tub, the cool thing is that the piece that we cut out of there is literally the exact same. So all we have to do is figure out how to move that in wherever we need it at, and that will literally be the exact same curve as that. There, we won't have to figure that out. Outside, it is literally as simple as, once we get this piece made right here, is just to cut a strip and spot weld to this all the way up to that point, and then go straight over to that. And that's that. Like, we don't have to bring this piece all the way to there, because that gets in the way of our interior. So we want to keep the tub as tight as possible like that, and then this we just want to keel literally straight into there. Sometimes I think the hardest part to do is to remember to slow down and embrace the build and not race to the end, and understand that as soon as we get done with this thing, we're gonna be in search for another one, and it's gonna start all the way over from scratch. So take your time.
Whoa. Sorry, Sally. Here's my toolbox. Oh, be quiet. And you can't talk in my ear. You only can talk in your ear. Now we're going to talk in mine.
Bending that piece, that brake does not like that at all. That brake does not like 18 gauge little tiny pieces. All the other pieces that we have broke has been no issue, but this long of a piece, I think it's like 30 inches, 32 inches. And that's a 36-inch brake, and then trying to bend a little tiny half-inch bend in it, it does not like it. It's definitely a battle. It's skinnier on this side, fatter on this side. This is the windowsill piece for the driver's side. It should be symmetrical. Actually, you know what? I think I just messed it up. Oh my God. Now that I'm thinking about it, it should have been flipped. God. Let's see here. 1 5/8 is supposed to be in the front. Yep. Should know like that. 1 5/8 is in the front. We might still be able to use it. It's just not going to have a big lip on it like the other side. God, man, I can't believe I did that. All right, so on this side we got it cut out, and we got the metal treated. That's the reason why it looks white like that. We didn't put welding primer on it because I wanted to see if that's what messed me up on the other side, but no, it's not. Look at that. And you can see from the color how much heat, that's the lowest setting on the welder, but you have to really sit there and wiggle the puddle around, like wiggle it around. It wants to go this way and that way. It wants to kind of move all over and not take, it kind of almost is like it doesn't want to connect the new metal to the old metal. The only thing I can think is that the edge, you know, of this metal, even though I did clean the face of it up, you can see where the green stops. I did grind that the best I could. There's still some left, brown paint. Only thing I can think is that there's a little bit of paint all across the bottom, and the heat's just pulling it out into the weld, and it's just welding like absolute crap. Like literally, I should have been able to literally stack dimes all the way down this thing, being it's in a corner. It's pretty easy in the corner, but you can see the amount of splatter, how it's just splattering sometimes. Okay, and this is, I mean, this is the same thing we've been welding with the whole time on gas. This is nothing different at all. I have no clue. I got irritated and was like, well, maybe it's the welder. It's not. I went and welded right there and welded perfectly fine. I just did a little tiny bead on it to make sure that it felt all right, and it did. It welded okay. So I don't know what's going on. I really have no earthly idea. I feel like it shouldn't be doing that. Even with all the welding we've done on the outside of the panel, I feel like it should not be welding like crap that bad. But I don't know. I'm just trying to truck on through. Standing here watching all the dust roll out of my garage. I don't know if you can even tell. It's a lot. Sometimes ask myself, man, you gotta be a real idiot. You gotta be a real freaking idiot to want to build a whole entire car. I mean, we have literally, how much, y'all leave in the comments, what percentage of the car do y'all think is left? I think it's 5%. I think there's 5% left of the original car. We're counting, obviously, the whole complete car running and driving down the road in the year 1949. I think there's 5% of the original car sitting here left in the garage. I don't think it quite hits 10%. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think, or the comment section what you think. But, man, just looking at this, dude, like, we've built everything. And again, I know some of y'all have said, dude, I would never cut a car apart. Like, I could just never do it. And you can. You just got to not look. This time we went light on the primer on that side. That was a huge mistake on that side, spraying that much freaking primer. But you just can't look at it, man. I think I'm gonna go take a break. It's still, the dust is still just rolling out of here. You just can't look at it. You literally just cannot look at the bigger picture. You got to treat it like you're driving a car at night. You can see what's in front of you, what the headlights are lighting up down the road, but you're not gonna be able to see your whole entire destination. That dust is still rolling out of here, just non-stop from grinding inside that quarter. You gotta be an idiot to want to do this. You really do. All right, Sunday morning, and I noticed something with this brake that could have affected the previous bends that we were struggling with. So I already fixed this side, but I noticed that this piece was back farther than the actual brake itself right there. Like, there was a good heavy 1/16 gap between the edge of this pivoting piece and this piece. And then I noticed, if you look on the backside of these brakes, there is a bolt right there. And when you loosen that bolt, which I've already done, that allows you to adjust this piece in and out so that you can get that piece right there. When this comes up and breaks like that, you can get it perfect. If you take that back, then it's going to want to pop the metal basically up, which is kind of what we were struggling with. Basically, it's not going to want to break perfectly in that groove. So I think I got it now, where this thing should do a whole lot better. And we shouldn't struggle with, hopefully, them little tight brakes no more, Harley. Wrong way. think this is gonna boil down to the metal is just dirty. I'm trying to put tacks across the top because it's like when I try to do my spot welds, which are the same exact size as all the ones I ran down there, which as you can see, to me, them spot welds look perfectly fine. It just does not want to penetrate the quarter panel. It wants to ball up onto our new piece. So I definitely, even though you can clearly see I went back and grinded, I have put 2 tacks in it, that end and that end. They didn't feel like they were sticking that good. I wiggled a little, they popped right off. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. We don't want to put anything together that is going to break later. Could you imagine the nightmare that if you painted this whole entire car and this thing broke, the weld's broken here and it is squeaking and wiggling around a little bit loose? What? Talk about a nightmare. Absolute freaking nightmare. So even if the welds look like crap, we want to make sure they're stuck. We don't want to just not penetrate both pieces of metal. So I gave up on the spot welds. I mean, they were just sitting on top kind of like that, not wanting to really go in there. More heat, they just want to blow out, and then you can still see not penetrate the metal behind it. That one right there, again, not wanting to penetrate the metal behind it. So I think these quarters, you can see there's some tar like left on it, even though I've grinded it all down. I think the metal is just so bad, like just so nasty or something. You probably could grind it and use acetone or whatever and clean it really good and everything. But I don't like to lie on YouTube and fake it. I really suck at prep. When I start having to prep something, that's when I just want to quit and go chill and sit on the couch. I like to build and work and go, but I do not like to stop to prep stuff correctly. And that relates also over to my paint work. Obviously, when we do higher end customer stuff, we spend a lot of time prepping because I'm getting paid to do it. But even on my stuff, if you've watched a lot of me painting my own stuff, very quickly take shortcuts and lean towards the fastest way possible on my own vehicles. One of the worst things you could say to me is treat your vehicle like if it was my own, because if it was my own vehicle, we'd be cutting every corner that we could possibly cut to get it in and out as fast as possible, man. Because I don't like prep. Do not like prep work on anything. I just like doing the actual work. And that definitely bites you in the butt more times than it doesn't. But I'm hard-headed and I'm too stupid to learn to slow down and prep. So I'm gonna keep doing it, I guess. Tacks across the top. I mean, I'm not gonna fight with these spot welds. Just, these tacks right here are, good. I know that they're good. They sound good. They feel good. They look good when they're flowing in there. They're not, you can see when you're welding that they're not fighting the quarter panel to get off. I don't know if it's just because it's literally laying in the top of a groove or something, but I feel a lot more confident about just putting, welding the top of the joint to the quarter versus having all these spot welds, just because spot welds are the right way to do it, and then them not penetrating and not sticking. I'd much rather have, all the tacks across the top that are gonna actually hold forever versus that. And I'm about gave up on the freaking welding primer also. I know I looked into it a lot, and Chrysler back in the day had said that, they don't want welding primer used on their stuff. That they just want it metal to metal, and that's the reason why a lot of this, probably corrosion is in here. But most other manufacturers has stated in the past that they want welding primer used. You have copper welding primer. From what I researched is when you have the copper stuff, it doesn't provide any protection at all. The actual like zinc-based welding primer, whatever, there's videos on it of how it melts away and it goes right around the perimeter of the spot weld when people are using that to spot weld with. And then the copper weld through primer just kind of melts away and doesn't do much of the protection like you'd want. So from what I researched, let me know in the comments your experience. The copper primer is honestly just kind of a waste of time and effort. If you've never actually taken apart two spot welds and looked to see what it does, then you don't know also. But there are very good YouTube videos. If you will search for weld through primers, there's very good videos where people have spent the time to use different primers and then take the spot weld apart and actually show what the different kinds look like and the heat affected zones and stuff like that. So let me know if you have any scientific experience, background with the weld through primers. But I can tell you what, inside these quarters, it's really, really aggravating me. And technically, there shouldn't be much moisture inside of these quarters. It should just be like the inside of a normal car. Shouldn't be a ton of moisture. So I don't think we're gonna use it too heavy moving forward. Sad thing though is all of the rockers down there, that was all like 2 coats of weld through primer, brand new metal, clamped together, welded amazing. So the common denominator here is definitely this old crappy metal that's causing the problem. Another thing it could be that I just thought about is it could be also the coating that we coated this metal with. So we wire wheeled it and then put that Pour 15 metal prep coating over it. And that very well could be our problem too. Them chemicals could have really got down in that metal and is pushing our weld off. So I also don't know moving forward if I'm gonna be using any more metal prep or anything until the job is done. Once we have everything welded up, then I think all the exposed metal, then we can go back and do metal prep and, you know, primers and everything. All this stuff is getting sealed 100% with sound deadening or painted, so everything, there will be no raw metal left in this project at all. But that has to be, it has to either be just a dirty quarter or that metal prep stuff. That's the only thing we did different here versus here. There's no metal prep down there, and it's new metal to new metal, whereas this is old metal with metal prep to new metal, and the old metal is just the weld is not wanting to penetrate it at all. All right, so Friday, what did we do? 12 o'clock to like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock maybe. Saturday, it's like lunch. What was it, 1, 2 o'clock, all the way till 5 o'clock. Sunday, it was like 10 o'clock, all the way till 1 o'clock now. All of that just to finally get back where I think we could put the pan back in. Oh my Lord. The amount of work that it takes, I mean, the whole weekend to get 2 sides in, but because of you just don't go. I mean, if you're trying to build something quality, even though you tell from the previous videos my weld mistakes and stuff, my stuff's not that quality at all. I try with what I got, and I'm trying to do as decent quality as we can with what I have in the garage on a budget, without millions of dollars worth of tools and bead sandblasters and everything else. But you try your best when you're doing something like this. You try your best. So I think we can now put the seat pan back in. We absolutely do not want to put these sides in no matter what we do. I don't think we want to put these sides in, period, until like we are done with this car. We probably will eventually move to self-tapping screws, you know, instead of Clecos, because Clecos do hang out. We'll probably eventually put self-tapping screws in there, but for right now, we're gonna rock with Clecos. And we wanna move on to putting the pan back in. That way, we can now start getting our side pieces like this so that the pan can basically be supported. We need to put a piece of sheet metal back down just as a height finder. And we should be good to throw the thing in. I guess put 2x4s back down so we can put a couple blocks. And hopefully here soon we'll have us some side supports, and then we can move to the back. Now that we can connect the sides, we can go up.